evening. I'm Brendan Miller. Thank you for joining us. Today is National Indigenous Peoples Day. It's a day for Canadians to celebrate the rich heritage and contributions of Indigenous peoples. And to celebrate, an event was held on Anemki-Waju, also known as Mount McKay. Emma Chilton has more.
Residents made their way to the top of Anemki-Waju to celebrate National Indigenous Peoples Day. Celebrations on Mount McKay included a powwow, entertainment, and a feast that can feed about 2,500 people. Co-chair of National Indigenous Peoples Day powwow, Shannon Young, says it's important to bring awareness to the celebrations that take place today.
It's very important for us to celebrate National Indigenous Peoples Day and to bring awareness and celebrate and get the community of Thunder Bay to knowing, because a lot of people don't know this exists in the powwows, and it's a great opportunity for our community.
Grass dancer Tyrell Munias and jingle dancer Luna Sage Hall Santana shared with us the reasons they're celebrating.
I think it's important to, to acknowledge the history of Indigenous people, and this day kind of provides that, regardless if you know a lot or know so little.
I like celebrating my culture, and it's really, really fun doing the powwows. I kind of do like this, I just kind of walk through all around the circle.
The free-to-attend event offered 20 crafters with a wide variety of products, 25 community organizations, and 9 local food vendors. A shuttle service is offered where residents can park their vehicles at the Fort William First Nation Hockey Arena and take the shuttle bus to the powwow grounds. The host drum New Life and co-host drum Young Thunder Singers provided the event with powwow songs. Emma Chilton, TBT News.
Forest fires across the region have caused widespread devastation, scorching vast areas of land. Kootenay MPP Saul Mamakwa recently traveled to Sandy Lake First Nation, one of the hardest hit areas by the Red Lake Fire 12 fire, to assess the damage and witness the community's ongoing struggle firsthand. Riley Cohen reports.
Mamakwa first saw devastation from the plane above. The Red Lake 12 fire has spread across 177,000 hectares and remains out of control. He describes how Sandy Lake First Nation was fortunately spared thanks to weather and the efforts of firefighters.
Came so close. And they were so lucky that the wind changed when it changed, and I think that if it not had changed, things could have been worse. And I think that's something that they were very happy about.
An evacuation order was issued on June 7th, with around 2,000 locals safely evacuated on Hercules aircraft, leaving a few hundred behind. The fire, dubbed the Sleeping Giant, also destroyed several cabins and camps around Sandy Lake.
That is a very huge fire. When I saw it from the air, when we left that day, you could see it like all the way almost to Deer Lake, right? Like it's just all over. It's a really big fire. I got to see some of the things that were burnt nearby the community, some of their teepees and all that.
Mamakwa says what many don't realize is the profound impact this disaster has on a First Nation community like Sandy Lake. The land is their way of life, farming, hunting, and living off the land for survival.
Well, it was very emotional for some of the leadership to see some of their cabins burnt down, right? And it's because like again, being on the land is a way of life, and I think that's something that that they're aware of, and I think that has an impact on on the hunting. And yeah, again, like it's very important that to notice the impacts of, like, say, on their ways of life.
Most importantly, as Mamakwa points out, no lives were lost, and that is such a significant relief in the face of such a disaster.
Lives were not lost. We're happy for that, and I think it just speaks to the the issues of climate change that we face on every summer, and I think every community needs to have an evacuation plan for the summer.
The Red Lake 12 fire continues to burn near the Ontario-Manitoba border, but is no longer spreading as it once was. Riley Cohen, TBT News.
The Ontario Provincial Police are celebrating an early success of the Pardon Project, which was helping people in Wigamo Lake First Nation apply for criminal pardons. Staff Sergeant Carl Duell says he was surprised by the turnout.
We weren't going to judge the success on this based on how many people came in. We just think it's the right thing to do. But honestly, to answer your question, I thought maybe the first time, just based on trust and everything, maybe we'd see about 5. But again, that just speaks to the type of community that North Caribou Lake is.
The OPP, Anishinaabe-Aski Legal Services, the Parole Board of Canada, and the Northwest Division of Ontario Court Services has piloted bringing these pardons specifically to First Nations. Anyone can apply to the Parole Board for a record suspension, but Duell says the process can be lengthy and intimidating, especially for Indigenous people who may have little trust for the justice system after generations of issues.
We're part of these communities. We live in them. We have members on all of our police services that are from these various communities, and we do know that historically there may have been times where the entire justice system didn't do things the right way for individuals, and a lot of times people have grown up. They made mistakes in their life due to historical trauma, addiction, other issues. And, things have changed in their life, and we want to help them be able to move forward.
The next community that will be receiving the pardon is KI First Nation, located on Big Trout Lake. Bay Credit Union was grilling up hamburgers, smokies, and hot dogs earlier this week to help raise money for a good cause. This year, their annual spring charity barbecue was held to support Camp Quality. Camp Quality is a regional organization that provides overnight summer camp opportunities for children with cancer and related blood disorders, along with their siblings. The money raised will help send kids to the camp and fund their various activities. Fundraising coordinator Keenan Stoger says it means a lot to see so much support from the community.
So great to have local support for a local organization. Even though Camp Quality is spread throughout Canada, it is nice to have people in our hometown, being aware of us and looking after us and really helping us out. So it means a lot to us.
By our being local and staying local, we want to make sure that the community benefits from our being here. Right, and this is the way one of the ways we can do it is by giving back through these charitable barbecues. We do other things. We give bursaries to high school students, we give bursaries to college and university students. So it's not just this, we're constantly trying to give back to our community.
The barbecue raised $1,350 for Camp Quality, and organizers say just about all the food was sold out. The House of Commons has risen for the summer, but not before Mark Carney's government passed a highly contentious bill that is still causing concerns for some Indigenous leaders, despite amends made Friday. CTV's Jeremy Charon has that reaction today. What comes next for the Prime Minister?
Congratulations, Prime Minister. Thank you. A legislative win for the Liberals to wrap up this government's first parliamentary session. But this contentious bill came with a new commitment Friday to consult with Indigenous community leaders through full-day summits this summer.
I will be meeting with First Nations rights holders on July 17th here in Ottawa. Inuit leadership in late July and Métis leadership soon thereafter.
Unfortunately, it's been limited to what the conversations have been with First Nations leadership.
The Prime Minister's promise comes after pushback from Indigenous communities across the country who now hope to see follow-through.
We're ready. We're here. We understand the urgency and we're ready to do this work. And so, I urge the Prime Minister to speak with First Nations leadership across this country before moving forward with anything.
Concerns the Prime Minister will have to address promptly, but despite the pushback, the government's key major projects bill, the only piece of legislation the Carney government passed in what was a short parliamentary session, is being touted as a success.
I don't think you can look at this past few weeks, this very short session of Parliament, Mark Carney's first as Prime Minister, and come away with any impression other than this prime minister is in complete control, not just of the House of Commons, but of the country's political agenda.
As for what's next, the Prime Minister heads to Europe Sunday ahead of a highly anticipated NATO summit next week, amid fresh criticism from Washington over Canada's defense spending.
You know who else was a low payer, just about the lowest? A place called Canada.
I would humbly suggest that I think the Secretary General of NATO is probably more up to speed on the numbers than the President of the United States.
But first, the Prime Minister will attend a Canada-EU summit in Brussels Monday, where he's expected to sign a security and defense partnership pact with European leaders. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
And now the latest on the conflict between Israel and Iran, and a new development with the word that the United States is moving B-2 bombers to the Pacific island of Guam. There is no official word yet whether the development is linked to the rising tension in the Middle East, but several media outlets are reporting the move that comes as President Trump is weighing whether the United States should take part in Israel's strikes against Iran. The B-2 bombers can carry the massive bombs that could be used to strike Iran nuclear sites, including Fordow.